Hey YouTube, welcome to Viking Preparedness. I am Pastor Joe Fox. You know, I think most of y'all, most of my subscribers are more advanced than the people who just are trying to figure out how to put a bob together, a bug out bag together, you know, or probably even more advanced than people who are like, you know, hey, we got to put away a couple weeks worth of food in the pantry or something. I think most of y'all are starting, I hope you are. It's one of the things I try to communicate to you. Most of y'all are starting to see that we need to take a longer range view on preparedness, on survival, you know, whatever you want to call it, on prepping. You know, although my personal view of prepping is, and again, it's definitions, right? But the way I define preppers are people who basically just buy stuff. And they don't really think beyond that. So if that offends you, sorry, you know, and if that isn't you, fine, whatever. But what I'm talking about most of the time now is deeper level of preparedness, self-sustaining, you know, sustainability, permaculture type attitudes, if you will. And, you know, whether you are an individual or a small family, like my family was about a year ago, who's just trying to do the best you can with what you got, you know, whether that's a balcony garden because you live in the city, or a rooftop garden, or maybe you live in suburbia and you turn most of your backyard into a vegetable garden and raise some critters back there, you know, and there are animals for food consumption that you can raise in towns and cities in most places. Or whether you live on a small acreage and, you know, you're doing the whole goat, chicken, you know, garden orchard thing like I was doing up in Kansas. Or whether you've got a full-blown mutual assistance group, MAG, survival team, or you're fortunate enough like I am to live on a community. You know, and a community, how do you define that? It's how you define it, right? It could be grandma and two of their kids, and then you and your family, you know, like Bonanza or something, you know, it's just a family group. It doesn't matter. But when you're together and you're trying to live a self-sustaining, or as close to self-sufficient as you can in a sustainable way, lifestyle, there's a lot of chores to do. And there are so many chores that it's really difficult for one person to do them all. It's difficult for just one couple to do them all. Most especially if you're trying to work, you know, to bring in money to pay mortgages or whatever. And which is why, you know, being with a group of like-minded individuals is the best thing. So today, here at Shofar Mountain, some of our members are gone. They had to go take a trip and take care of some business, and so that's left us undermanned, if you will. And let me just walk you through what we're doing today for chores. You know, the first thing is we have to do the normal chores of taking care, housekeeping, right? You know, pump more water. We do that by hand. Take care of our composting toilets. Make breakfast, clean up breakfast. My wife and another wife right now are washing and hanging up clothes. They're doing that by hand. And the men folk, you know, we got to work with picks and shovels today. And we planted, let me see, what did we plant? We planted 3 big fruit trees that my wife bought, 2 apples, a pear. We planted 2 plum trees that a brother gave us on Shavuot, 2 persimmon trees, and I planted a bunch of walking onions. Some people call them Jerusalem onions. They kind of self-propagate. We're working on our aquaponics system. We're taking care of water issues. Again, always taking care of water issues. And then we're going to go back up and plant some more tomatoes and cucumbers and, you know, a whole bunch of bedding plants that my wife has. We're not at the point yet here where we're raising our own bedding plants from seed, you know, so we're just trying to get a start on it. And, you know, that's something I wanted to talk about too. If you're going to be self-sufficient, self-sustaining, you need to plant a lot of food, right? Because you need to have food not just to, oh, look at the nice salad that we're eating today. We grew it in a garden. Doesn't it taste good? But no, every single meal, every single day is our goal. We want to be able to produce for ourselves. And to do that, that means you have to, you know, we can start eating our food, some of our greens right now, the way we've gotten started. And we have to be able to eat that food all summer long, into the fall, and then still have enough to preserve to get us through winter, early spring, until perhaps you know, late spring and early summer, when the food starts coming up again and we can eat it. And so that's an awful lot of food. And quite frankly, my wife and I, when we lived in Kansas, we had several gardens, and we were almost at that point where we didn't really have to buy any vegetables or anything. Here at Shofar Mountain, it's going to take us a little while to get there, and we realize that. But I'm just telling you, thinking that, you know, your pack of seeds or your little can of, we'll grow a 1/4 acre of produce. man, until you get out there and start growing gardens for yourself and actually picking those gardens, preserving those gardens, eating those gardens, I don't think you're really going to have a good clue as to how much food you are actually going to need. And so what am I doing? I'm encouraging you. I'm encouraging you to get out there and start. You know, we've had a really cool spring, here in the Ozarks, and it's not too late to get started planting a garden now if you haven't even started. And I'm thinking most of the country has had a pretty cool spring, and so you're not too late. You can go out right now and start working on your garden. You can start doing, you know, a lot of towns and municipalities will let you have a couple chickens or something, get a couple hens, start getting some eggs, some meat. Hey, start working it. You know, start thinking about how are you going to sustain yourself after your survival supplies are gone. And if you can start doing that work with other people, and again, whether that's family, friends, team members, community, whatever, I encourage you to do so, because every time you work with other people, you learn something about yourself, you learn something about working with other people. It's all a process. You can't read about it. You can't just watch it here on YouTube and think you understand it. You actually have to get out there and do it. And so, hey, I'll see you out there. Get out there and do it. God bless.